Good morning. This is the Weather Monkey. I noticed some storms developing earlier today when I was on my 2-mile walk. And I noticed they were going to go to the north. So I decided to finish my 2-mile walk. Went home, made myself some breakfast, and was trying to figure out what happened with my radar syncing on my last stream. So I went through it and everything seemed to be fine. Well, looking at the radar, I saw some more storms developing that were going to move a little bit farther south and move eastward through my area. So I thought I'd go live, make sure all my equipment is working. And we'll see if we can rendezvous with this storm to the north of me. I just hope it doesn't cross the river before I get there. Of course, I'd like everyone to subscribe to my channel. It doesn't cost you anything. And like my stream if you wish. So we'll head up here. We're heading out of Winona. We're in Goodview now. We'll head up north on 61, which kind of works its way northwest up the Mississippi River. We'll get up to Minnehaska, Dam 5 area. Lock-in Dam 5 is there. And we'll see if we can rendezvous with this storm. It's pretty hot now. I think it's 86, 87 degrees. And this cloud cover really is a blessing, because the sun's as high as it's going to get in the sky right now. Well, technically early this morning, but it wasn't out then. We were in the dark still. So technically the sun is as high in the sky as it's going to get. And when it's 90 degrees and that sun is high in the sky, that shade's pretty nice. And hopefully the shade from the clouds will keep it a little bit cooler. I know there's a cap in the atmosphere, so we'll just have to see how strong it is. I don't think it's very strong this far south. Up in northwest Minnesota, last night it broke down. So we'll see here. It's not extreme here, but it is there. The problem is you have these storms move in and they cool the air in the lower atmosphere. And then the sun comes out and the air rises, but the air above is hotter than the air that's rising. So you don't get much convection. The storms just kind of hit a certain level and they just either sustain themselves at that point or decrease in intensity. So we'll see up here a few more miles. I am starting to get into a little bit of rain. I have to turn the wipers on. I don't know if you noticed the tanker cars on the railroad track sitting there, but they actually carry oil out of North Dakota. and take sand back. So they're not running back empty. They're running back with sand. And yes, in the last 6 months, the tanker traffic has increased a lot. I wouldn't expect much hail out of these storms because it can't get that high. The updrafts can't get going. But you never know. It is 85 degrees and the air below is warm, so if there's any updrafts that do break through, there'll be some hail. But I'm not really expecting anything. Size, maybe. I see we're getting into some wind here. I noticed this morning on my walk, that storm that went farther north, like through Wabasha area, I noticed when I was taking a walk this morning that the wind was actually shifting and was sucking air into that storm. So we'll see up here. Pretty much right over the top of it here. But like I said, I just wanted to test my equipment to make sure it's functioning. I am on Highway 61 North. I'm actually traveling northwest right now. Highway 61 runs from, well, New Orleans area, I believe. But it runs up into La Crosse, and then it crosses the river and parallels the Mississippi River all the way up to, well, north of Red Wing. Then it shoots out west a few miles and then goes up into the cities. So, well, actually 61 goes through Hastings. Pardon me for my geography. But Highway 61 goes through Hastings. And after Red Wing, the highway that most people take cuts over to 52 that goes north to St. Paul. But you can take 61 all the way up to St. Paul if you want. It just goes through a few communities, and if you get downtown St. Paul, you basically are accomplishing the same goal by cutting over from Red Wing to US 52 and going north. But some people still like to take 61 through Hastings, Cottage Grove. So we're coming up on the Lockett Dam. I actually have my side camera facing the other direction, so maybe I could use my front camera if I tilt it sideways enough to see the Lockett Dam. Actually, I might as well just drive down in there. There's no point in going any farther north. So we'll go down to Lockett Dam 5. The Lockett Dam system is, well, it starts just south of Minneapolis, and it runs all the way down to just north of St. Louis, I believe. And I'm not sure how many dams there are, maybe 15, 16. I don't remember, but this is 5. And there's an extra dam just north of Winona they call 5A, which is the only added dam after the system was designed. But this is Lock and Dam 5. As you can see, they are doing some work on the dam. I think quite a few of them are having repairs done on them. The concrete is getting old and they're patching the spots that need to be reinforced. So now we'll head back towards Winona. There's not much rain out of this either. But like I said, I just want to make sure everything's working correctly, and I thought it'd be a good opportunity. So obviously with the sky in front of us, that storm's already moved through the area. It was raining a few minutes ago. So let's check my cameras and make sure they're working. This is my side camera where I can use on either side of the vehicle. That little campground was called Bass Camp. Turn my rear windshield wiper on so we can look out the back window. And that's my rear camera. So we'll go back to the front camera here. Now we're southbound on Highway 61, heading southeast towards Winona. We're between Minneaska and Goodview. And there's a little bit of wind right here. If you look at the trees. We could go through town and cross the river. By the time we did that, these storms would probably dissipate. There's nothing, it's like for every action you have a reaction. So the action starts at the lower levels. The reaction is it starts pulling air in. But as that air gets lifted, say the air is 70 degrees when it's being lifted. Well, the air aloft is 80. So you can't get any convection. You can't get anything lifting when the air above is warmer than the air below. But it's trying. but there's just not the dynamics for the setup. Take a look at that camera, where the clouds have moved to the east. But it is Saturday morning, and a lot of people are busy running errands. And other people are like me, are just enjoying the Saturday morning. So we kind of ran out of the rain again. It's just sprinkling a little here, but it is, the wind is pulling the air into, the storm is pulling the air into it, because I can feel the wind out of the southwest. Once again, this is the Weather Monkey. If you're just joining us, there was a storm building between Rochester and north of Winona. And I was sitting around the house working on my software and my radar, because the other night it didn't want to work for me. So I was working on it, and then I saw the storm come up, so I decided I'd check everything out mobile. Sitting in your house is one thing. Getting out and doing it mobily is another. Keeping everything running. Everything's got that battery backup. Although right now I am running everything off my vehicle inverter. That's built into the vehicle. But I do have a 350 watt inverter that if I park somewhere and shut the vehicle off, I can plug everything into that battery. And that battery will last about 6 hours with everything plugged into it. So if I need be, I can use that. So let me switch to my side camera again. And you can see the clouds from the system we were just under. But it has weakened dramatically. You know, it depends on which radar site you're looking at too. Some of them will look like a big storm, and then you go look at another map with radar and be like, where are all the reds I was just looking at on the other map? There's only yellows. So never even bothered the volleyball tournament there. They're still out there playing. You see that flag there? It's been whipped around the pole because the wind has changed directions a couple times, and it hasn't had a chance to stretch out. That one's okay. See, the wind's out of the east. When we left, the wind was out of the west. So it all depends. That's the storm over there that we were underneath. Well, just lost my radar again. Well, I know what's going on. This app that I have, this mirroring app, sometimes it just comes on. I don't understand it, but it does. It thinks I want a mirror. Well, I don't want a mirror because I'm using camera somewhere else. So now we're in Winona. I know the triangulation still says I'm in Minneaska. But I am in Winona. And I'm not going to distract myself enough driving to change it. So we'll just leave it there. I'm in Winona, Minnesota. So it seems that whole storm system is weakening. I would cross the river to catch up to it, but it's weakening and it's not really worth the effort. So like I said, I started this stream because I was sitting at home going through my software and my apps and trying to figure out why they didn't work correctly the other night. And then I saw this storm blow up, as little as it was. So I thought I'd run out, put everything in the car, and test everything to make sure things were working okay. It's a brand new Jeep Gladiator. I think it is. Let's see when it pulls around the corner. Yeah, it's a brand new Jeep Gladiator. There's a dealership right here on the corner. But that's one heck of a different color. So, hope they get a good discount on it. Unless you like that color. The first thing I'd say is, yeah, I like the vehicle, but the colors it just doesn't do anything for me. And this is the one that's got all the stuff on it I want. So, any way you can get me a better price on it? And they'll say no. So then you kind of hem and haw about it. And how much are you going to give me for my trade? Gee, if you could just give me another $500 off on my trade, I'd probably buy it. You'd probably get it with the $500 off on your trade. If you have a trade. Because if you don't have a trade, then you drop that on them. You don't have a trade. Anyways, I'm going to take a shot out the side here. I know I was talking about my street being tore up. Yeah, that's my street. I live about halfway through there. There's no way I can get even close to my driveway. So I have to do without for a few more months, I guess. There's like 4 people. I'm not exaggerating. There's 4 people who are working on that street. And they told me when they closed it off in May that it was going to take most of the summer. And I was like, how can that possibly be? To tear out the sewer, the city's storm sewer, the water main, and replace them, curb and gutter it, resurface it. It's going to take 6 months? Well, you only have 3 or 4 people working. I can see that happening. So, well, I guess I can just end the stream now. There's no more rain in the forecast. But if something does come up, I will try to get out here and run another stream. Like I said, this is the Weather Monkey. I'd love to be up in northern Minnesota chasing storms, but I have commitments back in town here that I can't just drive up there. So till next time, everybody have a good Saturday afternoon, and if you could hit that like button before you close your YouTube out and subscribe, I greatly appreciate it. Oh wait, I could do this before I quit. since we're right here, we might as well do it. Pull in here. I think everybody who follows me knows what I'm doing. So till next time, everybody have a great afternoon, and subscribe please and like this video. Have a good afternoon, everyone.